Okay, pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, we have an agenda, and the lifeguard report was number 7, but we'll take him first so he doesn't have to stay here all night and listen to our exciting meeting. Mike, you're up. This is our head lifeguard, Mike Proto. Good.
So I was asked today to come and kind of just give an update about what's going
You
on.
can sit down.
Oh, okay, thank you.
Have a seat. Don't.
So the beach is going well. There's really nothing the only really big issue is probably the seaweed, which we've been trying to.
Yeah, you're fighting a losing battle on that.
Yeah, so that's about it. But besides that, everything's going very smoothly. We have all our equipment that we need, and everything's going very smoothly. So.
Any incident, any rescue? I mean, I know you had a semi-rescue early on.
Yeah, but that was pretty much about it. No, nothing else afterwards.
Well, jellyfish, 'cause I've seen jellyfish on the beach.
We have seen some jellyfish, not on Cherry and Webb section, but on probably the outer section, meaning probably closer to Boaters Beach, near the point. That's about it. We haven't seen
I
anything.
saw one right near the chair.
Did you?
Yeah.
Oh, that was
Small one, very small.
Well, we've been removing them.
I didn't know if there were more washing up.
No.
I've seen a couple small ones, like on
Yeah,
at the seaweed
nothing,
line.
nothing overly huge, but like I said, that was probably the only one that. There's probably just been one that I've seen from stand to stand. Nothing else, but they've been out of our reach. So
Do you have everything you need?
yeah, we do. Everything's
Any
good.
issues, any staffing issues, any issues? No?
No, everything's good, honestly.
No, good.
Very smoothly.
I mean, it's been fairly crowded the last couple of weeks, I'm assuming.
It's been kind of a little, not the greatest weather with, just.
Well, rain, usually like thunderstorm in the
Yeah,
afternoon,
exactly.
rain in the morning. rain in the
Today was
afternoon.
kind of crowded, but besides that, it's been kind of casual.
I know the Saturday I was down there was pretty.
Yes,
Jammed.
weekends has been probably jammed. That's about it.
And now that they removed the plover area, it's probably a little easier to do.
Yes,
it.
absolutely. Yeah, they removed some of the piping clover nesting
Yeah.
area because none of them nested in those areas designated to them. So that was about it.
Do you need anything for us? From us? For us?
No, nothing
No,
really.
everything's good?
Yeah,
Everything is
everything's good. Honestly,
Okay,
everything's very good.
excellent.
Yeah.
All right. Anybody have any questions?
Yeah. Any questions? What we're doing,
Concerns,
training.
answers?
I guess what does a normal day look like? When
A
you
normal
show up?
day, yeah. So a normal day, basically, we start with training in the morning. We see if we need with training comes running, swimming, push-ups, sit-ups, stuff like that, pull-ups. We want to stay in shape in case anything happens. We will do some training as well, like board training and training with the torps and so forth. And then what we do is we assess if we need to rake the seaweed or not. If we do, we rake the seaweed. And before anything else, we actually set up the signs and so forth and set up each stand.
Do you have all the signs? Did you
Yes,
get all
we
the
do.
signs?
Yes,
Okay,
we do. We
good.
have all the
right.
signs, no dog sign and so forth, and we have, where our limitations are for the beach. We set those up, and and we pretty much set every stand up like it's, we have the backboard, the rescue board, a med kit at each stand, and so on and so forth. And like I said, then we do the exercising, and we see if we need to rake any seaweed, and then we, patrol and guard the beach.
Great,
Okay, excellent.
So.
super.
Anybody else?
Anyone
I
else?
appreciate you coming in.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I'm glad Paul asked you, 'cause I
Yeah,
forgot.
absolutely, no
completely, so.
problem. Anytime.
We hadn't had a lifeguard for the other meetings, and we hadn't got one, and we have one now. So, we have another, we meet the third Thursday of every month.
Okay.
So if you'd like to make a point, the next one will be,
In August at some point, I'm guessing.
it would be I think it's the 17th
Alright.
of August. So if you want to put that on your schedule.
I will definitely
No.
put that on my schedule.
If something should come up, obviously, in between,
Absolutely.
we should be okay.
Yeah, but
All right.
like I said, we have pretty much everything. The beach is running smoothly.
Great to hear.
Yeah.
I think we've been positive responses from everybody, so.
Yeah.
Because it was a real concern at the beginning of the season, as you were aware, that
Oh,
we
yeah,
weren't going to have
absolutely.
any, so.
Yeah. Anything that you want us to keep an eye on or anything like that? Or?
It should go much smoother. It'll slow down, I
Yep.
think, unless the weather gets. It's a weather thing, and if it stays like this, you'll have a crowd, and then it'll start waning towards
Mhm.
August like that. If the weather is kind of like it has been, like on the weekends, it's been raining, and people haven't beached out yet, so
Yeah.
to speak. So they'll get to that point.
Absolutely.
You know, so.
Sounds good.
Let's see, last Friday I wasn't in, but I had asked Jim to give you that binder.
Yep, we were
And,
yeah, so this is basically everything we've been doing every single day.
Okay.
And then once we got the binder, now we've been writing the notebook and so forth.
Okay.
Incidents,
Yep, I gave you the incident reports
Yep.
and stuff, and then just the policies and stuff, as you come across stuff, you wanna cross it off, because
Or add.
once the season's done, you know what I mean, we'll update and give it a cleaner copy.
Absolutely.
But we transferred, you know, it went from PDF to Word and that, and it just doesn't transfer right. So the numbers and different things, if you just wanna, you know, I know you already did some.
Yeah, just a little bit. I mean, honestly,
Pretty much.
yeah, the head lifeguard before me, he was really right on top of it. So, I mean, everything that we follow is pretty much from his.
Yeah, that was a document that's morphed over the years.
Yeah,
the last 15 years.
it will continue to morph as you know, things.
Because there's always something that comes up that you don't anticipate.
Exactly, you know, as things improve. So, for sure. But,
Okay.
Great.
Okay.
Anything else? Okay, you're good.
all right,
You're off.
no, you got it.
Thanks
Thank
for
you.
coming.
Anytime.
Okay, while we're that part of it, I have a town clerk report. I talked to Carla today. 40,
Thank you.
yeah, 4134. 4134 is the number of beach houses we've sold so far. And there is a concern that we might run out because we only ordered 4,500.
Sean, what's that number again?
4134 as of today. So I don't know if we'll make the 4,500. It may be close. Because it would cost another $1,000 to get 500 more passes, and I said I'd like to. We found that out a couple of years ago when we used to only order 4,000, and we got over 4,000.
I did mention to her, and we talked about, we talked about that. I mean, we could make pretty good copies, like on a hot pink
Yeah.
paper, you know what I mean, something
Yeah.
like that, like a
I told-
cardstock.
you know, they
I think
threw
we're
out
gonna be okay though. We couldn't even order 1,000 because we changed the color next year.
Well,
So
we
it's-
rotate the colors,
So she
and
could
I
use
told her
it another
that we
time.
should probably hold on to, you know, although it'll have the wrong year at the top, you can always cross out the year and use the same color anyway, if we ran over, if we have left over, because I know that when they cleaned out that office, they threw them all out, and we had like 4 different colors that we could have.
Now, the $1,000, am I to understand that it was between 4,000 and 5,000 was $1,000, or was it $1,000 because we hadn't ordered enough and they were gonna have to do a new print?
We have to do it again, because you have to reset the
So reset
printer,
the
and,
thing,
yeah,
okay.
so,
I
you
just
know, it's so
wanted
much
to
cheaper if you ordered the
If we ordered the
4,500.
5,000 at once, it
and-
would have been a
Yes,
reasonable price.
it would have been, yeah,
Okay.
but unfortunately,
Which
it's
we
kinda
can think
heavy.
about to do the next year.
Something
you
to
know?
think, well, we'll see how many we got this year. It's been pretty steady the last couple of years, we're in the 4,300 range,
Uh-huh.
but you never know if there's a big surge, because usually maybe people just moving in, or, you know, people at the last minute who run in to get passes.
So are we down from previous years?
It's a couple hundred,
Yeah.
but we haven't gotten to that point yet. The summer's not over.
Sure.
We still have people that will come in, you know, who might have 2 weeks in the summer,
Yeah.
might buy them or whatever. And it may have been down a little bit only because, you know, people get older, they don't buy
Yeah.
as many and stuff. Who knows?
Sure.
I'm not sure what the reason. I'd be interested to see what the senior passes and the regular passes are. If they haven't been keeping track. 'Cause I would like, for revenue purposes, because we're going to need to know for next year, obviously. It's going to be, we have money in our account to cover the cost this year, but next year we're going to go over what we're getting for revenue, I would bet. So we're going to have to think about what we're going to do about that. Anyway, okay, so that takes care of lifeguard and town clerk.
What's our lifeguard name who's here now?
Michael Croteau, Croteau.
C-R-O-T-E-A-U?
Teau. Yeah,
Okay, thank you.
he's really on top of it. He's been, I think we have a good group. I think, you know, everybody
Yeah.
down there, so. Okay, approval of the minutes. Go to the minutes. Anybody have anything?
So it's good to me.
Yeah.
Make
That's
a
good.
motion to accept the minutes.
Okay,
I'll second it.
all in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
Do
Uh,
capitalize Mr. Underwood.
Oh, doesn't catch that. I got a lifeguard discussion, but I'll go to the beach vehicle discussion. So I was under the impression that we had a warrant article that paid for the beach vehicle, and apparently it was a transfer of funds which got transferred back, and we didn't use it within the year that we had transferred, so we can't buy the vehicle until we appropriate the money, so we probably will not have a Gator for the next year. Which, we have a truck, thank God, and we'll
Yeah.
probably be okay, but we'll have to go and appropriate the money next year for the Gator. It's too bad because I had it all picked out. The guy had given me all kinds of prices and I was ready to order it, and then Nicole, who said, "You don't have money." It's like, I thought for sure, in my head, I thought for sure we had a warrant article that gave us that money. I was swearing up and down, but we don't. So we'll have to it's only $18,000 for the 4-seater with the long bed, which I think is a bargain over a brand new 4-wheel drive truck. And it'll probably last longer than a 4-wheel drive truck. We can store it down there in a container, and it can be used by all.
Good to get it appropriated for town meeting, and we'll have it for the season.
Yeah, yeah. So,
I think that could also help with the seaweed. You know, I know that they have, it almost looks like a chain link fence that you can drag behind it.
yeah.
And
you
it-
can,
It
you can do a
scoops it
lot of
up.
things. They have
Yeah.
rakes, a York rake,
Yeah.
you know, and they can do that with a York rake
Yeah.
and drag it. I think this year the seaweed has been,
Yeah.
I mean, it's just
Been a lot of it.
Yeah, there's been a lot of it. I mean, I've seen they raked it up and they dumped it,
Mhm.
and it doesn't look like they even raked it. You know,
Yeah.
like a day later, it's all back. So it's,
Sure.
you know, at this point, yeah, sometimes you have to live with it.
Yep.
You know.
It's not even August yet. You'll
Yeah,
see.
yeah. I mean, most of it's rockweed, which was kind of strange. I noticed. So if you're doing clam bakes, you're looking for rockweed. There's plenty of it on the beach. But anyway.
Do they pull it out far enough so that the tide doesn't retake it, or?
Yeah, but there's just so much weed in the water. It's ridiculous.
Okay.
I mean, you just watch it wash up. It's got some of the red stuff, but a lot of it's rockweed and eelgrass at this point.
Wow.
So it'll turn into that red stuff. I know gooseberry's loaded with the red weed, but it'll come. But there's no, you know, I don't know. It's just, it is what it is.
Storms, I guess.
Yeah, there's no. So that's the beach vehicle discussion. So we'll just have to appropriate. I don't know if we can do it at Springtown meeting. We'll have it for the season because we can't spend the money till July 2nd technically.
Oh, well, then you're going to get into the next year.
So I'm wondering if we can figure out if, I don't think it's gonna be a fall town meeting, right? Unless the override doesn't pass.
I'm not sure, very
We
honestly.
could do it fall town meeting, but, so, anyway.
Because they can't take it away from us until July 1st. But you
Right.
can't appropriate it in time for July 1st.
Well,
That's
we have had the money transferred, I think it was fall of 2021, so we had to use it by 2022 and we did not.
So if we appropriated it at a town meeting and buy it ahead of time in June,
No, but you'd have to
Can't do
use,
it.
that's from that'd be a previous year bill. Even though we work calendar year, if we bought something in June, that would be, had to be out of our budget from this year, what we're working in
Oh.
right now.
we're really
And we don't have the $18,000. We
No.
won't have the $18,000, that's for sure. But anyway, lifeguard discussion. Should we come up with a calendar of when to start things for the whole year?
Yeah, I think that makes a lot of sense.
Like a consent calendar to say, you know, January 1st we do this,
Mm.
by by February 1st we do that.
Yeah.
So we might want to think about that and we start early on that because we're probably going to want to start recruiting.
I'd be happy to put something together. I think it'll be
When the
helpful.
lifeguards, you think it's November we should start looking for lifeguards?
Yeah, I
Or you
would,
think it's
the
too early?
earlier the better.
Yeah, I think so. I think,
Once we have an idea of who's coming back, it'll give us a better idea of
yeah, I mean,
what
if
we're
we have
looking
10
at.
lifeguards coming back, I mean, typically that's what we had from year to year, so we didn't have
Yeah.
a big recruiting problem, but we,
Yeah,
because you don't want to go out and recruit and then have 20 people applying for the job.
Sure. Yeah.
That's basically what happened. We had a couple people who, you know, were on the fence. but-
I'd be happy to put a schedule together or like an
Yeah,
action
that's
plan.
fine. Yeah, you know,
Alright.
some kind of like, I mean, some way of calendar of what we need to do. and
Sure.
when we need to do it. Similar to, now that we've found the protocols and everything that we'll have for future generations of lifeguards and beach committee members. So lifeguard discussion. We have a concern here, but it was already been addressed by Paula. Thank you, Paula. It came in probably right after, it came in the 25th, so that we met the 22nd, so it's 3 days after. And everybody had it was basically concerned that there were no lifeguards or no facilities at the beach, but of course that's been taken care of, so I'm assuming
Sure.
she's happy at this point in time. Trying to think of what else I've had. I mean, we got a lot of kudos from the lifeguards and the fact that we got everything put together. That's you and Dana, basically, so.
Dana has really kind of taken over.
Yeah.
I had to
it's,
get back to work, but
You know, that, yeah, well, she's back doing her stuff now.
Yeah.
Getting her stuff
it
underway.
seems like it was all ironed out and, you know, everybody's
We
showing
do-
up to work, so.
Yeah, I did go to the personnel board last Wednesday, and they approved all our current, we need a job description for assistant head lifeguard. So did somebody have that in a Word document somewhere? I don't know if you do, or can somebody
Yeah,
forward it to me
Dana
so I
sent
can send it on to them?
Dana sent it to me, so I'll send it off to you.
Yeah, so I can, because they were, you know, and the question, I don't know if anybody listened in on that personnel meeting, did you listen in? I think the question was, what are we gonna have to do for next year for pay? And it's like, I mean, you wanna say $21 in the job description, because, you know, it's like, you know, obviously 10 years from now it will be $21, so, or do you just wanna say whatever, and I didn't know how, and I don't know if they knew how to approach that. Like if there's a
You
way.
sometimes just see it, you know, in job postings, was it commensurate with,
Yeah,
you know,
Experience
with
or-
experience,
yeah.
with,
Well, this is not a union position or a full-time position with benefits. You know, typically you put
you know,
seasonal laborers have an X amount per hour. And I don't know how you deal with, do we have to go up to $23 next year?
I think we're pretty close with the state. I think it's a $1
Until
difference.
they go up $2.
Yeah.
And it's like, you know,
Yeah.
it's like everything else, you could be chasing, everybody's
Yeah.
chasing each other. I mean, we got Mike, because Fairhaven, we chased.
Sure, yeah.
You know, we pulled him out of Fairhaven and got him over here to Westport, you know. But he seems very happy. because
Yeah,
He's
he's
making
doing
like
good, yeah.
$6 more than he was making in Fairhaven, so why wouldn't he be?
Where's his residence?
What's that?
Where's his residence?
I don't know where he lives. Do you live in Fairhaven?
I'm not sure.
He's
He's
here.
doing a
He
really
should-
good job.
Yeah, he's on top of things. He's also got like, some good people under him too.
Yeah,
That-
they're doing a good job as a group, I think.
Yeah, I think he's got a real team there.
Mhm.
So, you know, it seems like everybody I've talked to seems happy, you
Mm.
know. It's just that, are we gonna be chasing this money thing forever? Because right now, the salary, we can't cover with our expenses, the salaries we're paying. You know, we've got some money stashed away in our enterprise fund, but that's not gonna last very long if we keep tapping into it. So it'll be a discussion for possible in the future. We have to let the selectmen know by 1st of January, obviously, and the town clerk, if we're gonna raise the fees, or how we're gonna do that. Because I just don't see how we're gonna sustain this, you know, and keep people, so. That's pretty much all I have. I mean, I've locked quite a few people in this year. And they've been in there when I got there in the morning. No tickets, but a couple of cars the other night, and some people, I mean, I don't know where they are, 'cause when I walk the beach, I can't find them. But somebody told me last night, who was coming out of trips, the other night I came through here and there was 2 people standing there with their cars, and it's like, I know who the cars were, but I don't know who they were, and I don't know where they were, so. But other than that, I think it's been pretty good. There's been no complaints. The Coopers and the Mullins next door are wondering about the fence.
Mm.
And I think we need to do something about the fence, because it's almost a danger, never mind just a privacy, security thing as much as it's a danger. There's some sharp edges.
What is the holdup? Because we had,
Well, originally it was,
3 years
they
ago.
wanted a construction easement document, they being us, I requested of them an easement, so we could put it in. And they didn't necessarily want to give us that, and then there was a concern about, should we formalize this whole agreement now on paper? Because originally it's just a handshake agreement, you know, this town would put up a fence, so. And they were concerned that they were giving up land or something like that. I think at this point, it's a moot point, but they would like to see something put up.
has it been
Because
surveyed?
Yeah, and the part of our right at the top of the hill where it bends down, that section is on their property.
What would happen if we put it on our property? What
We
restrict-
couldn't, there's a big
There's
hole
no-
there. There's a-
Okay,
yeah.
that's what I'm looking
Yeah,
for.
but I mean, that roadway's been in place for God only knows how long. But that was before, the current town administrator wants to just put like a rope fence up with signs, but that's not, in my opinion, in their opinion, it's not real secure. We do have money in a warrant article to do that, though. We have $25,000 sitting out there. I was thinking that the highway department could do that probably in the off-season, put up a new fence and save some money, because we have to pay prevailing wage if we don't, and that's,
The gully that's there, is it, you can fill it and make it even, or is it so bad that it's not fixable?
you would not be able to fill that in.
Okay.
I don't think the Conservation Commission would appreciate it either, but I don't think how you could fill in that gully. I don't think it would be a good idea.
Okay.
Are they concerned about safety, did you say, or what
There's
is it?
safety and privacy, because when there's a lot of people,
Mhm,
there's two things. The fence is on the Mullen property,
sure.
okay? So that's why we need the construction easement. But people, between trash and other
Mhm.
things, and people jumping the fence to go down into the pit.
Yeah,
And we can't control that, whether we have a new fence or an old
Yeah.
fence. There's no controlling that. But now there's a well-worn path that goes around the fence down into it.
mhm,
And the concern is,
yeah,
they do live, try to be good neighbors and everything like that, but, I don't know what we do. I was asked this week again about it, and I said I would discuss it at this meeting. I think we have the money appropriated, we should do the first 300 feet, which is the part that goes from the beach up to the big pine tree.
sure.
And that would be, I think, secure enough. But it's totally up to the committee as to what they want to do. Right, at this point, you can't do it during the middle of the season. You
Mhm.
can't shut down the path and say, hey,
Yeah,
you can't come down here today. That would send people crazy. So I think in the fall, sometime after, maybe in October, just,
yeah, things slow down a little bit.
I hate to beat a dead horse, but there is no way to go in that gully with a fence? It's just not-
The fence runs right along the road.
Yeah.
The road is up on the ridge above the gully. The gully drops down 20 feet. And there's no
You
way you can
cannot
put a
go
road.
down.
You couldn't put a road in there. It wouldn't be safe. And people complain now about the climb. The climb they'd make out of that gully would be,
Hmm.
even worse. Plus you'd be taking out all kinds of beach vegetation. So, right now, we just replaced the fence, the existing, I think you'd be fine.
Mhm. How long a space is it,
What do you mean?
the gully part?
Well, the gully's off to the right of the
How much fence would be
road.
missing?
How much are we missing?
How much fence would we be missing?
Well, the fence wouldn't be missing. The fence would be there either way. I think we need to put a fence either way, again, my opinion. I just think the concern is, the fence has always been there is to keep people from crossing over onto private property.
Right.
People have been crossing onto private property. There's really not much you can do. I mean,
Yeah.
if they cross on the private property, but you also want to be a good neighbor. You don't want to turn this into a legal battle or anything like that. So my thing would be, why don't you just fix it? Because right now there's jagged, rusty edges and all kinds of things on it.
Okay, the posts would be reusable?
No, that's the problem. The post, there's a lot of non-existent posts. That the highway department went in last year and held up basically the fence. They drove in some iron posts and just zip tied them to it to hold it up. But the old fence posts, the original chimney, most of them are non-existent.
Replaceable.
Yeah, not replaceable. They're basically just powdered dust at this point.
By replaceable, I mean put a new one in
Yeah, new
that
one.
spot.
Yeah,
And that's possible?
yep.
Okay.
So, and it's only sand, but anyway. Having said that, I think we covered all these issues on the agenda. I'll go to member input, and we'll start off to my left. Paula? Have you been to the beach many times? Have you been to the Nubble?
I have not been to the Nubble, no.
Because we've got some complaints on garbage the last time. I don't know if that's resolved.
My
'cause I
daughter
haven't-
was, one of my daughters was there today, and she didn't say anything about it.
The beach looks beautiful, actually. She sent me a picture. It looks gorgeous.
Yeah, I mean, the concern obviously out on the road. Oh, I do have one other thing. I do remember. one
You
thing.
addressed that with the land trust and stuff.
Yeah, yeah, so they've been sending people down, but I don't know. At night, I see a lot of people over there fishing, especially in the real hot nights between the bridge and the Nubble. It's been like wall-to-wall people. So, I mean, because they want to get
I
out of
haven't been down because I only have the weekend.
I haven't been down there.
Weekends have not been very nice.
I have not been down there in a couple of weeks, so I don't know if the problem is resolved. I'll check into that. Leon,
You said that the mosquitoes,
the mosquitoes are very,
so I will make a call for the second
it's
spray
been perfect weather, perfect weather for the mosquitoes.
Yeah.
And it's, I mean, you go down there in the evening and you're, you know,
I've been lucky, I
you're
had
being
my,
chased, you're being
Yeah.
chased by mosquitoes that carry you away.
I was sprayed, maybe a month ago, and I'm good, but
Okay.
I'm not right on the water.
Yeah, but I think it's just, there's a lot of reasons, right? In those little gullies and everything, it's perfect habitat.
Okay, I will do that tomorrow. The third porta-john,
Well, what do we want to do about it? We're supposed to have it, we don't necessarily have to have it, but
that's my
having
question.
just one porta-john, I've noticed there's been a slight problem on the weekends. Because on Sunday night,
Okay.
it's pretty, especially in this weather, it's been pretty ripe.
I'm
But
not-
also I see people waiting to get
I was
in.
surprised that there was only one.
Yeah, I'm not being accusatory, but what was the reason that the third one wasn't,
I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know what the reason was.
they just didn't come with
They
it?
didn't, I asked the guy when he dropped it off, I was there, and said, don't you have another one? He goes, no, I was only told two. So we put one on the Kitty Beach parking lot and then the handicap one at the,
All right, I'll get in touch with them. We all agree that the third one should be there.
yeah, I think you need two, because it is really, you know, busy.
I've taken care of the billing, I let them know that the WRWA takes care of Kitty Beach.
Okay.
So they know that, and I'll get in touch with them tomorrow and see when they can deliver that second one. When you discussed it with them, do they know where to put it?
Yes,
Okay,
it's much easier to get down there now because they've cleared the path, so it's much easier to
okay, so
get in. They're
long
well
as
aware.
they know, because I don't know.
Yeah, it's right, put it next to the other one, you can't miss
Okay,
it.
okay. So I'll do that tomorrow.
Okay.
I was just thinking, I think the lifeguards are doing a great job. I didn't know if we could send a thank you to Chris Boyle over at Horse Neck,
Yep.
just for his involvement. I know that.
Yeah, I think the selectmen, you know, people, yourself, Dana and Chris should take credit for
Yeah,
getting the thing
even if
rolling,
it's,
getting the momentum going.
send them a thank you card or
Yeah,
whatever we can do. And I don't know if that comes from the selectmen or from
I
our
think it
committee.
does. I think it should be recognized at selectmen's meeting. Not
Yeah.
too many people watch beach committee meetings.
Yeah.
John does, but,
And then I know with other state parks, I've seen that they have like a friends group, like a Friends of Horseneck Beach or Friends of whatever it may be. And I know that there's a lot of vocal folks out there who feel that we,
professional complainers.
yeah, we could do things differently. But I wonder if there was a friends group, so maybe there's somebody out there who would like to spearhead it, that could help us, you know, in instances when we do need to raise money for, let's say it's equipment or whatever it may be. Could they possibly do that, raise
Yeah, I
money
mean,
privately?
Yeah, I mean, it's always good to have a lot of minds thinking about what could be done better
Yeah.
and what could, or, I think one of the bigger things that I see when everybody's complaining is their misunderstanding of
Yeah,
what exactly is happening at the beach and how
Yeah.
it gets done and why we can't clear the path and pull over the president.
government is a
Why-
little bit slower than.
Yeah, and why things that
real
can,
life.
can't be done, you know, exactly when, because, you know, the first warm day, if the path isn't clear and you don't have facilities, everybody's like, well, I don't, you know, and we try to explain, we open up on this day, we close on that day. You know, it's like, I don't know how many people I've told this, they still think they close this half hour after sunset. And I asked one woman, where did you hear that? And she said, it was on a Facebook page. And I said, did you see the big flashing sign that said 8 o'clock when you drove by it or not? You know, and I don't mean to be sarcastic, but it's, you know, it's a mindset that
I
some of
think
these
it's
things.
important too that people understand what I know that, you know, you see a lot of I don't look at it, I don't see a lot, but it's been brought to my attention, like, the beach committee gets thrown under the bus a lot.
Sure.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And that's what, and I think it's important for people to understand that we're really just an advisory committee.
Yeah.
Right.
You know what I mean? Everything else, you have to go to the selectmen.
Mm.
So we can go to them, we can do whatever, but it's really just an advisory
Right.
committee. We're all not just
So we are.
at the
Mhm.
beach from 8 to 8 and all of that, you know,
Yeah.
so.
Yeah, the 8-to-8 signs, Chris Gonzalez did a good job getting new signs up. They're all up and everything, and you got new signs on the gates that said parking by permit only, and it. But, there'll still be the people who complain, there's still the people that complain about why does it close at 8 o'clock, and I have to explain, I explain it all the time, and some people are understanding, some people not so much. And unfortunately, that's the way it is. And I don't think it's gonna please everybody all the time, but they have to understand that, this isn't, if you want to pay $1,000 for a beach pass, and we sell 4,000 beach passes at $1,000 a piece, we'll have money to do a lot of things. But unfortunately, it's a trade-off of whether you keep the passes low price,
Mhm.
because there's going to be a diminishing return. If you jump it up to $100, there will be a diminishing return on the number of passes.
Sure.
Some people might like that because they'll have a place to park. But which brings me to something that I've forgotten. So on 4th of July week, I drove by several times on East Beach. And on the left side of East Beach, I saw this gentleman and his wife, or girlfriend, I'm not sure. He's handicapped, he's in a wheelchair, he's paraplegic, he's missing both legs, he has a prosthetic. And his name is, I don't know, shouldn't give his name. But anyway, he was sitting there in the handicap van, and they were sitting on the other side of the beach, and he had a little, basically, blanket that he put his wheelchair on. He got out of the van, and I went by him, and finally I had to stop, and they pulled in, and I asked him, and he was a little nervous about why he was sitting there, and he said, because I can't park on the other side of the road. Because when he parks on the other side of the road and there are no handicap spots, people pull right next to his van, and either he can't get back in the van or he can't get out of the van.
Can we identify handicap spots and
I
put them there?
said, well, we can fix that. And
Yeah.
I talked to Martin Costa, head of the Disabilities Committee, and I said, we need to put 2 spots, 2 beefy signs like the signs that are on the
Sure.
the parking by permit. Probably right at the corner, just down from the corner, because that's got the hardest surface, the rocks further down a little more loose. You couldn't get a wheelchair out
Yeah.
there. And he would be forever grateful, this gentleman, if we could do that, because he says, as much as, and as hard as it was, when you're sitting on the other side of the road,
Sure.
it's
Yeah.
not the same as sitting
On the water.
looking
Yeah.
on the water, looking down on the water, even though he knows we can't get a Moby mat. You'd love to have a Moby mat. The state came through big time. Martin pushed and put a Moby mat from the handicap spots on Gooseberry. They cut a path through the dunes and put Moby mats down on it, and you can get down on the beach. The problem he has is people block it.
Yeah.
And it's the same thing, and he said he appreciates the kiddie beach we have one, but we had a little problem there because it was a washout, and it was kind of dangerous, but he would like it if on East Beach, he said he used to go at the end of Gooseberry, but he couldn't find the spot there anymore. And he has a sticker, a Westport sticker,
Sure.
and he was sitting there, and I looked over, and there were campers parked the wrong way with no stickers, and people parked there with no stickers, and he was just, and I said, this can be fixed. So I think I think the committee, I'm going to approach Chris Gonzalez and say, listen, we want to put 2 handicap signs here and find some way of delineating those spots. I'm not
Yeah.
sure how we do that.
With a little bit of space on the side. So if
Yeah,
they do
so
have
that people won't park right next. I know some people will be upset because they like parking in that area, whether it be other people who aren't handicapped would have a little mobility issue. Because the smoothest transition to the beach, but the surface that you would put it on is hard. I mean, it's not loose rocks.
Yep.
Like, you couldn't do anything further down, so I think that would be appropriate to put 2 handicap spots.
Could one be like van access only?
Yeah, 'cause I sat there and he was there every day I went by, and I had to stop. Like, by the time Saturday came around, I just pulled in, and I went flying in, and I said, I have to ask, why are you sitting here? Because I watched on the other side of the road, nobody had a sticker. He had a sticker, and he couldn't park there. 'Cause he said, I can't get out of my van.
That stinks.
There's no room. And on busy days, it's very tight on that, obviously, but most people don't have stickers. And that's what he was a little upset about that. He said, why? And And I actually went over to one of the campers who was parked and said, "You have a sticker?" And they were like, "Well, it's late in the day." You know, it's the old excuse, and it's like, well, you parked, you're taking up 4 slots. You park parallel to the beach so you can sit in the camper and look out at the water. You know, and you park not where you're supposed to. And they moved right away. And he appreciated that because it was right in front of where he was across the street.
We
But-
put no camper parking.
Yeah, we have that. We have a policy, no campers. But there's this trend of van camping.
Mm.
I notice when I come around the corner at 4:45 in the morning and I see these vans and I know they've been parked there all night,
Yeah.
you know, they don't get chased out of there, and that's going to be a trend that's a little disturbing.
We need to contact the tow companies, get them down there, both to the parking lot, you know, and there, and tow a few folks, and, you know.
But I
maybe
think
that would help.
realistically, we can put up a couple of handicap signs and
Mm.
make spots for this gentleman or whoever else wants to park there.
I also wondered, you know, and I need to do a little research myself, but does the website for the town, does it list all of the beach locations that the town
Yes.
runs, and, you know, whether or not they have handicap access or parking?
They don't say that, but they haven't listed.
Yeah, I have them all listed. I mean, every facility has this gentleman and the disability committee are very understanding.
Yeah,
By law, we're supposed to have handicap access to all our town facilities. As much as we have handicap parking at Cherry and Webb, it's not handicap accessible.
yeah.
That's all I have listed.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's not handicap accessible. We have handicap accessibility at the Nubble, we have handicap at Kitty Beach, but
Mm.
Cherry and Webb, there was no way we could plow down the
Yeah.
dunes. There's no way we
We
could
can't move
afford
the
to build a
rocks.
boardwalk
Yeah.
and it would be ripped up in a heartbeat. That goes up and over the dunes, that meets the 1 in 12 pitch you'd have to make it to start it, you know, over at the yacht club. And
Yeah,
to get over the top of the dune. And they appreciate that, and it's been that way for a long time.
how do, how does you know, I mean, the state runs all of these facilities. I mean, if you go
Look at
hiking,
Horseneck, you got the switchback ramp
Yeah.
that goes up,
up and down, yeah.
but they have a building there, and they have a handicap bathroom
Yeah.
facility and everything else that goes with it.
But there has to be some areas like parks, or if you go for a hike, that, you know, municipalities or government can't make handicap accessible.
You can't make
Uh,
everything handicap
yeah.
accessible. You can't make Mount Washington handicap
Yeah,
accessible,
so-
you know, but most facility by law, if you're
You need to make sure you have the spots and that you're doing all you can to
You do,
accommodate
yeah,
their needs.
and Martin has taken, that's why we've got the Moby mats and the
Yeah.
parking area to Nubble, he's done a great job. This case, I think it'd be very easy to put a couple of signs up at East Beach that says handicap parking. And then with a fine, $300 fine,
Yeah,
uh,
yeah.
you know,
Can we make a
and
motion on that?
Make a
And
motion.
get
Yeah.
one that.
spend the money, because we'll have to spend the
Spend the
motion.
money and make sure, as she said, that it has the extra space, you know, how it
Mm.
has the extra
I don't know how we delineated it, at one time,
van.
Jeff Bowl and I, down at the Cherry and Webb, we had a 2x4 and we painted it white and we nailed it into the sand.
Wow,
That works.
yeah,
But then people kept running over it and it started bowing and cracking
Yeah.
and, but I don't want to disturb that surface. Maybe we just put some paint, some white paint and just repaint them every year or something.
I'll
You know,
second.
because people, okay, second by Harry. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. I
And
just
that-
think,
that way somebody can use it anyway.
Yeah.
But if it specifically will take care of a van.
Mm.
If we can't have two, if we could have two, one regular and one van,
Mm.
I don't know if that's asking too much.
yeah, no, I don't think,
So-
a van spot, you're supposed to have basically 10 feet and 4 foot striping next to it.
Mm-hmm.
That's the minimum, that's kind of tight even, you
Sure.
know, but it gives you enough. So basically you need 10, 4, and another 10, so you need 24 feet of handicap space, you know. But I think it would be helpful, you know. I think they should both be van accessible, because if you're handicapped, you can, and you're driving, you can pull up onto East Beach anywhere.
Mhm.
But people in wheelchairs
Can't
cannot
get
get
out.
out.
Yeah.
Cannot get out. And this gentleman just wanted to, you know, get out of the van, and I don't blame him, 'cause it's hot as heck. And, you know, just sit there in the breeze, but he's sitting across the street in the, basically on the salt marsh, and I'm just like, this is a problem. It really disturbed me, because every day I was going by him, and it was just like, then finally I just had to see what he was doing. And he lives on Horse Neck Road, and he's a Westport resident, and he's missing both legs, and God bless him, and he just wants to be able to
Yeah.
sit there and look at the ocean
Sure.
without having lines of cars or whatever, or views blocked by campers or whatever the case may
Especially
be.
with people without stickers.
Now, the police do what they can. I know they ticketed a lot of people 4th of July week,
Good.
but I don't think the fine's enough to deter people. We've had that problem every year. I think you have to tell them $50 is nothing.
Mm.
And there's nothing
You
we
have to
can
pay
do.
$35 to go to Horse Neck. It's another 15 to go to Cherry and Webb.
That's right.
And we get a lot of walking down from Horse Neck, I've noticed this year.
Go to the beaches.
Mm.
Nice.
Because the
Yeah.
beach, Horse Neck is all cobble and stuff, and there's a lot of people that walk down. A lot of people. Because there isn't as many cars as there are people that are driving them. And again, I see a lot of drop-offs too. I see the car drop off, and then I watched it park at Horse Neck. And one of the parents or one of the whoever's driving is walking from Horse Neck down. But they're dropping the coolers and the blankets and at the opening to Cherry and Webb.
It's irritating. There's nothing much we
I
can
mean,
do.
you can't do anything about it, and it's, at least they're not parking illegally.
Sean, when I first came to Westport, there was no cobble on the
What's-
state beach. There wasn't a cobblestone to be seen. It was a beautiful beach. You had sand contests there, and walking, what happened? Well, the last 40 years.
Gooseberry Island, you can't get your sand
Well, I don't-
where it goes.
Yeah, but it's been that way for.
So,
ever since they
how
installed
long you been here,
the
John?
That's what I'm saying, John. It's the causeway. If they had a little bridge there, that sand would not be eroded from East
So-
Beach. It would be put on East
So,
Beach.
what
Our
I've-
sand is in Dartmouth.
No, but what I've noticed is on the edges of the parking lots, the dunes have, and on the edges of the road, the dunes have gotten much higher and much steeper with pine, and much more vegetated, many more pine trees than used to be. But if you remove 20 acres of sand dunes and put parking lots there, you're taking out where the sand comes and goes.
See, they've done that in the past, say, 40 years.
And Gooseberry has something to do with it, because you'll notice on the west side of Gooseberry, 'cause I noticed it, because now they don't open the gates, I walk down the causeway every morning. The west side has sand
Mm-hmm.
3/4 the way up the causeway.
When they built the causeway, they blocked off the tidal flows.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So everything just pushed out, can't come back.
But we're getting more sand on the town beach too.
But I
From,
never saw those cobblestones on the state beach.
yeah. Well, but like I said, there's no nourishment. The town beach in Westport has dunes. You don't have the biggest problem because they have rolling dunes.
Mm.
But when you get to it, and you'll see it, like even the Nubble, in my lifetime at the Nubble, the dunes on each side of the road, the Nubble, have gotten 3 times higher than they used to be, and much more vegetated, because the sand collects. At Gooseberry, at Horse Neck, they don't allow it to connect. They clear the parking lots, they clear the road behind the thing. So all the dunes, you don't notice it until you notice it.
So
Then all of a sudden, you got these dunes that are literally like 1-to-1 straight up, and it's covered with pine trees, so that sand isn't moving anywhere.
So human involvement is what caused the problem there.
That's the coastal zone will tell you, coastal engineering is the worst thing that can happen. And there's not much you can do about it at this point, because you wonder where all the sand from the 20 acres of parking lot went when
Yeah.
they built the parking areas.
I guess that brings up a question. Could you plant trees where the fence is going?
You could.
Rather than a fence, and
It
would
takes
that
forever.
benefit
It takes
us?
so long to grow, though.
Yeah.
I mean, those trees don't grow very fast.
Sure.
down there. That would take,
Yeah.
I'd be gone before they'd be getting
Yeah.
size. You know what I mean? I watched that little hollow off to the right.
Yeah,
30 years ago, there was just beach grass in there. Now there's roses and pine trees growing and everything, but they're not very big.
yeah,
They will take over
Yeah.
eventually, but, it's a point.
Mm.
That the sand on Horse Neck, it's just going away.
yeah,
And I noticed that a couple of years ago when there was a big storm and it took out a big chunk of the beach, and it was like, oh, this is going to be the end. But again, they're not letting it. We don't do anything on Cherry Webb Beach except clear the path. And every year we get tons of sand up the path and we push it back onto the beach.
Well, Baker's Beach still has to rake all the cobblestone off their property. They do a great job with their equipment.
Yeah, there, it's creeping to them, and I think it's gonna stop there, because after you get to there, you have dunes again.
Right.
But there's nothing behind that initial dune. After the initial dune from the beach is just parking. And they keep the sand off the parking. But look at the dunes on the sides of those parking areas. Look at the dunes on the side of the campground. And you'll see. Like, there's no way sand's gonna move. Like it's supposed to, like it usually did. So, anyway.
And then with the head lifeguard, I think it would make sense, I know we just started the season, but maybe whether it's Dana or the head lifeguard, if he could get a feel for, who is coming back. It's probably early on, but,
Well, towards the end of the
yeah.
year, we'll know.
Yeah,
Because, there was a lot of excitement early
Yeah.
on in lifeguard and stuff, and, and maybe some like it.
Yeah.
There were 4 or 5 first timers.
yeah.
So we don't know if they're gonna like it.
Mm-hmm.
It used to be a coveted position, but I would find it very boring to sit there for 8 hours. I couldn't sit there. I'd be in a cancer ward. I mean, I'd be fried like But I don't know how, if you're sitting there for 8 hours watching the ocean.
I think it's nice that they're working out and doing what they can for the,
Yeah, they rake. They were happy to see it. The people saying happy to see it raking. They're happy to see it. They're watching what's going on. They
Yeah.
seem diligent. They're picking up the trash.
yeah,
Trash bags are going through trash bags. I don't know where they're finding all the trash, to tell you the truth, because I don't see it as much, but
yeah.
more power to them. I know there's been a lot
Good
of
job.
early exits because thunderstorms roll in,
Yeah.
or a lot of times the fog just rolled in and everybody just left.
Also, if he was able to determine how many lifeguards were going to stick around in August, because it seems like the
We knew
herd
it
kind
was
of
one in
thins out.
July, right? We
Yeah.
was one in July
I think we
next
already-
week, I think.
I think we lost one
Yeah,
almost immediately. He
right.
worked for a week and then he was gone. And then, because wouldn't that help us to know
Yeah.
what we're spending?
And I think we, just a little informal, what do you think the problems were from all the guards? Maybe
Yeah.
have a session where you bring them all in at the end and say, what do you think the problems were? What do you think? Because, maybe they expected more hours, some expected more hours, maybe some expected less hours, I'm not sure. if
I wonder
that's
what
part
are
of the
they
problem.
getting average? I mean, what is,
I think about 30 hours.
yeah. And that was what
But
we
it-
were,
Not bad.
yeah,
Well, when I worked during the summer, during school, and even during high school,
Yeah.
at least, it was like I wanted to get as many hours as I could.
yeah,
Yeah, but
like- it's like
it's
a-
not like we're giving them
So I could bring home that
15,
$40.
you know.
yeah. What did they, I think we told them 32,
Yeah.
so that's
So I don't
not
know
too
if they're
far
getting,
off.
yeah, but
With all the rain and storms, I'm sure that's been cut.
I noticed there were a couple of early, and then I noticed a couple, because I think maybe he sent some home and maybe a
Mhm.
couple hung out, because I think a lot of times the fog rolled in at 3 o'clock in the afternoon.
Yeah.
You don't have a lot of swimmers, you just get
Yeah.
walkers at that point. But I think also it hasn't been great beach here yet. Today was pretty good. I don't know, it's supposed to
Yeah,
be good for
sun
another
was
week
out.
or so. So, I'm not there in the daytime, so I'm not sure how many. I was there that one afternoon and it was scary,
Yeah,
really scary how many people were there.
yeah.
But everything seems to be, knock on wood, safe.
Great.
So, anybody have anything else?
What
Question?
time do the beaches open, all 3 of them, 8 o'clock?
8 to 8 are the official hours. I don't know. That needs to change. I hate to change it because they can't.
Oh, I-
People, it hasn't been closing at 9 o'clock for 13 years now, and
Yeah.
people still think it does.
Hmm.
we
And
have
most people that
enough
think
of-
it closed at 9 o'clock weren't here 13 years ago, so that's why I don't understand.
I think it's difficult enough to get the hours into the
It's-
public's,
it's been better people-
knowledge.
Believe me,
Why change it?
I'm gonna go down there and it's 10 of 8 now, I'll go down there after this meeting and there's
Yeah.
very few
Yeah.
times. Again, the people that have been locked in, all but one didn't have a beach pass. The one I locked in. The one I locked in had a beach pass and it was there the next morning in the exact same spot. So I don't know if the car was dead or they locked their keys or they lost their keys, because I've seen that a couple of times.
Mhm.
Just came back. Okay.
Right.
Seeing that, I'll entertain a motion to
Adjourn.
adjourn.
Sir, yes, sir.
Second.
Second?
All in favor?
I,
Aye.
Aye.